Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Welcome. If this is your first time of stopping by, hello. You're highly welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel. To my old subscribers, I say thank you very much for all your support. So in today's video, we'll be making this lovely gown for our princesses today. If you're interested, please watch up to the end, and I will see you at the end of the. So for this style, we'll be making use of our paper for the pattern drafting, and for this I'm going to go ahead and mark my half length first, which is 12 inches plus 1 inch allowance for the joining of the gather and the shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and then make a straight line to connect the lines I just marked. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to mark a straight line at the middle of the paper, not really at the middle, somewhere that will be enough to mark our bust measurement with our allowance. Then I will mark the second line. So this line is my zipper allowance. The first line is my center front, and the other one is my zipper allowance. So my measurement is going to be starting from my center front, that's the first line, and I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half inch allowance for fold, and then I'm going to go down by that same half of my shoulder measurement for my line. Then remember, our measurement is starting from the center front, so I'm going to go ahead and mark my neckline at 4 inches for the width, and then for the length at 3 inches. I want it to have a wide neckline, so that's why I'm marking a wider neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the line and then make a curve for a round neck. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark my back neckline, and for my back neckline I'm marking at 1.5 inches, and I will extend it to the back neckline and then curve it to meet the neck width that I marked earlier. Then for my bust round measurement, which is 28 inches divided by 4, I'm going to go ahead and then mark it, and then I'm 28 inches divided by 4, and then I'm going to extend it to the waistline, because my waist and my bust is the same measurement. Then for the shoulder slope, my shoulder slope is 1 inch. I'm going to go ahead and then mark and then I'll connect it to my neckline. I'm just cross-checking my shoulder measurement, because I looked at it and I discovered that it's longer than it's supposed to be. So I just cross-check it and I see that it's is bigger by half inch. So that's all for now for the basic bodies. Before we continue, I hope you are enjoying this video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Don't forget to share my videos to family and friends too. Thank you very much. So I use this to cut out my back bodies before trimming out my zipper allowance and then my front neckline. So for the front for the design at the front, I'm going to be marking from where my neckline from that slope at the neckline. I'm going to connect it. At first I marked here, but I discovered that the result is not going to give me what I want, so I slanted it more to meet the center front. But the center front, I want it to pass by 1 inch away from the center front, so I wanted to extend it. While cutting it out, I'm going to extend it by 1 inch, and then for the other side I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch. So I first of all cut out the lining for this, my fabric lining. If you have your normal lining, you can use it before I go ahead to the design. So I decided to cut out my pattern to be 2, so that this tutorial will be easier and easier for us to understand. So I'm going to go ahead and then tape this to keep it in place before we continue. So I'm going to go ahead and remark the slanted line. Remember that I told you guys I want it to be more down, about 1 inch after the center front. So that's what I just marked, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So while cutting this out in my fabric, I'm going to add 1/2 inch on the two sides so I can be able to join them together. So this is it. After cutting it out, you can see I added 1/2 inch at that side. So for the plain side, we are going to go ahead and make and to cut it out. And for this, I'm going to start by plating on my fabric. So I'm using my bridal satin here. I'm going to go ahead and start plating this and holding it down with my pin, just the way I am doing. You can go ahead and do the same. So when I was done plating it and I made sure that it covers my pattern, I'm going to go ahead and pin it down before cutting it. So I removed the pin at the upper side and pinned it down at where I have my fabric, so that when I cut it out, the plating is not going to separate. So remember, we're adding 1/2 inch by that right side, and you can see I added it as well, and every other side will be them, because we have already added our allowance while cutting our basic bodies. So this is it. After I was done cutting it, you can see how it's looking. So the next thing we're going to do is all around the paper, because if we remove our needle, it's going to separate. So we're going to stitch it down before removing our needle and also the paper. And this is it. After stitching it down, I'm just pulling out all my needle, and then I'm going to tear out the paper. Let's go ahead and do the same. And this is it. After I was done, the next thing you're going to do is to attach it to the sister bodies. So for this, you remember we added about 1/2 inch, so you're going to use the 1/2 inch to attach it. You match the center, the waistline, and then stitch it down from one end to the other. So this is it. After I was done stitching it down, I'm going to go ahead and use my fabric lining to turn this inside out. If you have your normal lining, like I said before, please make use of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down to make sure that everything is in place before taking it to my sewing machine to stitch it down. So I'm going to pin the neckline and the armhole, because we are stitching on the neckline and the armhole. And I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the back. And for the back, I also cut out my fabric into two. I use my fabric as my lining, so I'm going to go ahead and place this front facing front, stitch the neckline and armhole, and then before turning it inside out. After I was done turning it inside out, the next thing we are going to do is to arrange the back bodies and the front bodies together, front facing front, and we are going to go ahead and stitch the neckline, the shoulder part. So for the gather my fabric, I deducted my half length from my total measurement, and that's what I cut out, plus 2 inches allowance for the for the gather. And then for the width, I tripled my bust measurement, my waist measurement, and that's what I have there. So I'm going to go ahead and then hem this, then run a loose stitch at the upper side to gather the fabric. And this is it after I was done stitching the neck, the shoulder. I keep saying neckline. The next thing we're going to do is to arrange the bodies and to take out our zipper allowance. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to shape our body, and for this we are going to place our tape at the shoulder line and then mark our chest line, which is our shoulder divided by 2, and then that at our chest line, we are going to mark the half of our bust measurement, that's bust measurement divided by 2. We are going to mark the line, and the remaining allowance there, I'm going to measure it, then divide it into 2 and mark one half of it at this side and then half of it at the other side. And then we are going to do this at the waistline, divide our waistline into 2, mark it, and then mark the remaining one, divide it into 2 and mark the half. So we're going to go ahead and stitch this with that allowance, then turn it to the other side and stitch it down with the remaining half of the allowance. And this is it after stitching it down. I went ahead to cut out all the necessary excesses there. So if you measure your waistline, that's what you are going to gather, the exact measurement of your waistline. So as you can see, I've already run a loose stitch on this. So what I'm going to do is to pull on one of the stitches so that we can gather the fabric. So this is it after I was done gathering it to the exact waistline. And remember, you don't want to gather your zipper allowance. So what I'm going to do is to place this from facing front and then stitch it from one end to the other. And this is it after I was done stitching it down. The next thing I'm going to do is to close up my zipper allowance and then attach my zip. Then for the bow, my measurement is 8 inches by 5 inches. So what I'm going to do, and my fabric is folded, what I'm going to do is to stitch the fabric all the way around and then leave a little space to turn it inside out and then stitching down. And this is it after I was done attaching the bow and also the zip, and the style is looking beautiful, I believe. Yes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do you think I should bring the bow downward or is okay where it is? Please give me a thumbs up if you do. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.